CDEC, they've got to get that 4 people working well. EHome, you mentioned it, but we've seen Pick Beyond in that clockwork multiple times before, and he is quite menacing when he gets that space. You know, it's one of his older specialties, and it's something to really watch out for. Like, that matchup against the AM is still somewhat tricky, but there are lots of ways for the clock to really abuse that matchup, and we've seen Ame fall behind before against Pick Beyond. Can't afford to have that happen again.
You can't.
Prepare for battle.
Starting with the orchestra hits, and CDEC will respond with moves. Trying their best to catch up. Almost there, CDEC. Keep going. There we go. That'll be it. So, you were talking about Ame being able to just arm up this lane rather than, last game where they were struggling a bit, but
well,
it's problematic, right? The clock still makes it quite difficult for the AM, right?
Yeah.
Even with the cogs pushback that you have.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's quite as hard as last game though. When he was up against the Tiny, you do have that tray grab.
Yeah, it's, you don't have to worry about that early burst. It's not as big of burst damage, but the key thing is this dual lane. If Beyond if they do manage to get that control out, the moment they get those disabled on, he's going to be in a touch of trouble. And you can see Ame changing up his playstyle. He doesn't level up Mana Break first. He knows he has to be a bit safer, so he's leaving it open depending on how this lane does develop. And he's really just going to need the back to support it. Looks like Victoria is starting to make his way down. So you've got the AM Ogre, and in this case, the Ogre can at least cop the hits. It can stand in front, it can trade by itself. Definitely very different from that Disruptor AM lane, so there's more presence here from Victoria, and that should give Ame just a little bit more leeway to try to find farm.
It should. And of course, you've always got the Bloodlust and the jungle to fall back to as this AM. So Ame's definitely got a lot more comeback mechanics this game. And again, just not having to race against an Alk is always going to feel quite nice here for Ame, especially after what happened in Game 1. Still, see how he can do up against Fate. Victoria gonna just pop the Bloodlust on himself and start trying to chase down this clockwork, but immediately you do have the Battery Assault to come out. That's the one unfortunate part for the Ogre, is while you can tank up through a lot of damage, you're always going to have that Battery Assault coming back at you, but Victoria ultimately will win in the end and just keep chasing down Fate. Sync Q hasn't really leveled up the arrow yet either, he's just kind of holding out himself, waiting for that right moment. He just goes for the one arrow here. Like, it doesn't seem like you need the leap, and he does into the Battery Assault of Fate Beyond. Victoria, he's still due to just walk out of here because Ame will protect him. But now Ame going to take a hell of a lot of harass out. Both heroes left with very, very low HP.
Yeah, this is not a great spot for both of them. No salves in this lane, so you're stuck in a precarious position here. At the very least, Fate Beyond doesn't have mana, so you don't have to worry about the clockwork spamming out. It's just the arrow person you need to be cautious about, but that's it. So it's, again, a bit better for a start, and that does kind of balance out, because up top, you've got this duel of the Shadow Demon and the Earth, and, why is applying his pressure? He's playing around with that Shadow Poison.
Why? Getting chased down, and with that Cinder, it makes it that much more painful. It's one of the beauties of the Brewmaster and Phoenix can combo those two abilities quite nicely. And poor old Y will just have to take so much damage off this Phoenix. Of course, this is still allowing Skull to have a decent enough time on the Ursa. He's not really struggling too much here. Old Y will have to just try and stay away from this Phoenix Brewmaster and just win the lane out in other ways. Of course, the one lane we haven't really talked about much is the mid lane, where XM and Nothing are currently going out at it. Well, at the moment, XM is having a decent enough time with the Void Spirit. I think as the levels go up, it does start to slowly become a bit more of a sniper-favored lane, but in terms of just CS, XM does have so much potential to just deny off creeps of the sniper. Nothing to say, can't really close the gap that hard.
Yeah, it's
as I said, once the levels are up,
Yeah, it's get a lot easier for Nothing State to do this. You know, spam the shrapnel out, equal to shrapnel to block the damage that XM can't quite block up with his pulse. And, you know, the cooldown on his spell is a bit longer as well. The key timer here is really level 6. Like, if Nothing State gets to get that assassinate lined up, it's going to be a nice set of kills, although, down bot.
Bot leg, Faith Beyond won't be able to finish off Arme. Was the first blood there for the AM. Did manage to get CQ on the Marana. So nice little start here for side of CDEC. Of course, they lost Victoria, but Arme getting that bonus gold is always going to feel quite nice. And I mean, he needs the gold anyway, because he's had to buy so much regen for himself. Bring out another set of tangos to ensure they can survive through all this damage. Meanwhile, mid lane, nothing to say, does go down, but Y is going to try and pace down XM and see if he can trap it. Will get the kill. James unable to save the Void Spirit. You're still going to be okay with that if you are CDEC. Just be able to get the sniper kill first.
Yeah, it's certainly a nice set of wins for CDEC, even if EHome's finding trades, as they need to keep this pressure up. They can't allow Nothing to Say to have that runaway start. And the sniper, he's already at the point that he's got 3 wraith bands. No regen on our sniper, but, you know, with 3 wraith bands, he hits a lot harder. The trades are just never going to be great for XM. He does have the level advantage now. So he's at the level 5 mark just a bit earlier. And it really needs to hit the 6 mark to really start applying even more pressure. Gap flows on that sniper.
I wonder what kind of item build he goes for on this sniper. Like, do you go for that brand new MKB? Is there something else I wonder that we're looking at here for the sniper build-up?
Yeah, it's still fairly open. Last time we saw the core sniper, it was a Maelstrom, but Siler up.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Disruption is going to save him from all that dot damage. That Cinderbrew plus Fire Spirits again, just really dishing out quite a bit there on Siler. Why is going to hold them back now. SRF with 4 Shadow Poison stack, but he does go in for a bit of a slam. Meanwhile, bot lane, Faith Beyond does end up picking up the kill onto Victoria, and they were just trying to fight over the bounty runes, and eventually, of course, the clock will just win out. But Faith might be falling a bit low on levels here. He definitely wants to get to that level 5 mark on the clockwork. Yeah, go back to the lane. Looks like Arme's gonna meet Sync with the secret shop for a second to just take that ring of health for himself. And this bot lane is still going okay for both sides, but you've got to look at Arme's CS. He's having a great old time.
Yeah, that he is. It's a far cry from game number 1, and if they keep this pace, they've fixed the early issues they were having with that combination, although Ame is still pretty blink happy, going really far forward.
Faith is out of mana. He can't really fight back. And will be forced to just bottle himself up. Ame set himself up once again. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Y getting chased down through his jungle. XM able to pick up another kill on the Void Spirit. Still giving time for Nothing to Say to just freely farm up the sniper. But this is what Void Spirit does. He just goes and hunts kills. Yeah. Let's get the first one of the game for himself.
Yeah, that's the level 6 marker for XM. You know, that's the point he can get a lot more active on Void Spirit. He can start setting that pace. You're probably still waiting on level 7 for just a little bit more utility on the sides as well, but he can start to apply that pressure, especially on Siler, who is farming really well.
Oh, Ame getting arrowed up with the disruption set up, but he may have enough time to blink out, and he does, but Xingqiu is leaping on the chase and does have enough damage to eventually take him out. Do almost miss out on that kill, but luckily you do have the leap charges there from the Marana. Nice setup there from Y.
Yeah, that's a much more valuable kill for EHome than ones CDEC have been finding so far. CDEC need to apply that same pressure onto Solar, because this Ursa is not too far behind from this AM, and it's really down to XM to get that rotation out, so they need to start setting their sights there. They are invading these stacks, though, so that will help the cause just a bit for CDEC.
It's going to be a lot of gold and XP, and not to mention the neutral items. An Arcane Ring will drop for XM, but now it's been disrupted up. Arrow is going to fly through, but Dissimulate will be there in time for XM, and he will be able to make his way out. That's a very nice neutral item to find for the Void Spirit. On top of all that, the Arcane Ring. It's going to be a very, very nice feeling for XM, as he does go after Y now. So out of position by his Tier 1 tower, but will get dived and does get killed off.
Yeah, and they are starting to apply the resources down mid just to ensure XM finds these kills, and start to apply that early pressure in the jungle. So they're shutting out these big camps, they're making it less safe to clear these stacks. This is forcing nothing to say to a bit of a slower start. Of course, all this free space up top, though, is something Siler's enjoying. He's still kind of uncontested here, although they do drag more heroes up.
Hey, pops the range, but they're gonna primal split. Stun will fly out. SRF, do you have the damage? Probably not. Siler will turn around onto the Wind Panda. SRF, he's gonna lose that one perhaps. It will manage to get away. Trying to Faith Beyond instead. Faith now copying a fair bit of damage, but he'll stick charm jump, still trying to make a run for it. SRF now back into his normal form, and now Siler, he jumped back in. That is probably going to be the death of him. He'll make a run for it as Sinkyu does also come in. Still just bouncing away there. Siler may actually be able to run out as Sinkyu now is going to be targeted, but he does sleep and avoid some slams. And here comes after the Sail. After James, who does Icarus dive out. He'll barely make it out of there, but now XM coming in. After Siler does get the kill on the Ursa, but he's trapped up. Arrow is not going to land either. Very, very close call. They do eventually kill that position 1 Ursa and get away with all their lives intact.
That costs a lot of rotations out from CDEC, but they find the one kill that was causing issues. They do manage to put a dent in Siler's progression, so you're setting back the Ursa, you're giving more space for Ame this time, you're distracting the entirety of EHome to respond. That's giving a lot of space for the EHome to keep farming up, and the progression for Ame, it's a lot better. You know, he's doing quite well into the Battle Fury. He has his power treads. There's more leeway there, but EHome, they're not going to give that space for long. They drag Siler down with 50 on. They know that they do have to keep Ame in check here.
They've got to. You don't really have a way of locking him down at the moment. Not without Sinkyu on that Mirana. Top lane, they are going to get disruption into Arrow, and it is going to land on that Phoenix, but there's going to be plenty of help around. Why will be just forced to TP out of there immediately. XM unable to get the 8th tournament in time. CDEC really are just running around as Ford, trying to get any kind of pick off they can. With this 2k net worth lead, if they can just keep this up, this is just going well. You've still got nothing to say to be concerned about here on the Sniper, who is still farming very, very nicely and also has that, almost has that Mask of Madness up. I guess until that point, like, you can't really just guess where he is. He's just been farming the jungle the whole time.
Yeah, it's one thing for EHome. Like, with nothing to say on the Sniper, it's a slower pace. He just doesn't have that presence. You do see a smoke up, though, with the 3 heroes behind, so they're going to try to make something happen with Fate. He does have his hook shot up.
Smoke on smoke. They're going to break this smoke onto the Phoenix with the hook shot. Now the arrow means that that Phoenix should be gone without an egg being dropped, and Victoria, oh, he's got nowhere to go either. We'll just have to accept the fact that he is going to die. That's a successful smoke attempt out from EHome now, getting a double kill onto the Sniper of all heroes.
And that's a massive boon for nothing to say. That gives him his Mask of Madness. He's working towards the MKB rush as well. Sniper, he's just going for the pure right clicks, and if you give the Sniper space, it's going to be tricky to deal with.
They pop the drums. SRF, he wants to go in, but the battery is so big, so he can't actually get the split off, and he will go down. And now he's forced to simulate and just astral step his way out of there. And it was just the battery assault making SRF unable to split.
Oh yeah, they've got to really be cautious about being isolated like that. Like, that's something the Clockwork is just really good at, right? We see it against the Shaker a lot. Even the Brewmaster has to be a bit cautious, and again, just like that, EHome starts to clock that by. They don't want Ame to have free space.
It's going to be really nice. There's going to be the cogs as well. There's no blink yet, just in 1 second, and well, Faith almost gets there. They're going to walk away with 150 HP. They are on the hunt. They really do want this AM. I do believe you still need Sinkyu around with that arrow to really lock him down long enough. Maybe even just having the Sniper around to get an Assassinate off for that added damage. But till then, Ame should just be able to continue surviving and freely farming up. But he's very close to that Battle Fury now. Won't be too far off.
Yeah, it's such better progression for Ame this game. It's not quite the top of net worth though. You're still seeing nothing ahead with those kills, but they're not relenting. Beyond is still hunting.
He's not going to be able to close the gap though. No hookshot available. find another target, perhaps XM. You get the hook off into the arrow and the Cogs pushback once again, and XM should have died very quick, but now SRF gonna TP in with the primal split. James, his Ed will die, and with that Moonlight Shadow, they don't have detection. So they can't actually follow up with that primal split. And that means EHome, knowing that that ultimate's down, is just gonna go straight into the mid T1 tower.
Oh boy. And, you know, when you have a sniper, it's a really safe push as well. They just don't have the team fight tools anymore with that egg blown up. So a big objective going the way of EHome that's going to allow them even deeper excursions in the jungle is the first tower they've taken, but it is a really crucial one. It will force Ame to kind of farm in less safe areas once more.
Radiant are scanning.
I think you should be on top of that AM, waiting for the blink. Faith doesn't have the hook shot, he needs 5 seconds, but he knows something's wrong. Rock and Flare, he's gonna blink into the jungle, and the arrow not gonna land, but the Shadow Poison did scout him out, so hook shot's gonna be up from Faith with the Cogs, but he's gonna blink again. Without that arrow landing, they really didn't have much of a chance killing him off. You don't really have anyone else building up anything like an orchid at the moment. So, Ame is gonna remain fine. But I imagine EHome, with this sniper still freely farming and being at the top of the net worth board, I imagine they really don't mind that much.
No, definitely not. Like, nothing says progression towards the MKBs going along. Well, I mean, Siler already has his Skull Dasher on top of that, and he's been a lot more active on the maps. Once you get that Abyssal on the Ursa, he's just going to be able to gap close and control the Aeon. That's all they need to keep Ame down. And Tyler's progression, all things considered, is still there. So, EHome, they smoke up. They know they've got to keep that pressure up here.
James. They'll ignore James. Maybe Victoria. Disruption is going to be up from Y. Q again. The easy arrow setup is going to land an Ame. He's around the area, but he can't help. Just has to let him die and be happy that he's not the one to get caught like that.
This will come in handy.
EHome will just continue what they're doing now, taking the net worth lead. Just slightly. It's always going to be a nice feeling taking that net worth lead away from the team Mage. And I dare say this 4 protect 1 lineup from the CDEC, while they are still protecting the AM, it's not really panning out the kills or momentum. It's almost like we're going to rely on the AM to just carry us in the late game. But up until that point, they're all just looking to be sitting ducks up against the draft of EHome.
Yeah, we're not seeing as much activity coming out from XM. Like, we expected Void Spirit to really take central role here, but you've got big item pickups from EHome. You've got the Blink up on the Brewmaster at least, so more options there. That should allow them some more leeway in getting CDEC up and running these fights. It's just, they haven't found that opening, and it's really EHome setting the pace.
Well, yeah, they just loop around that radiant triangle.
Tower is under attack.
Rocket Flare not going to scout out Ame. He just blinked out of there just a second ago. There is going to be a smoke out from CDEC now. They want to try and take a successful team fight, and SRF does have the blink up, so he can blink in to initiate. Just got to be careful of where Faith Beyond might be. You haven't seen nothing to say. That's the target they want. They also see CQ, so they'll jump in on the sniper, break the gap and just burst him down. Nothing to say. It does go down very quickly, and CQ, he's just going to try and make a run for it. Meanwhile, however, Sala, he was taking the Roshan out. And he does get the Aegis. They are still going to lose this Murano, or maybe not. Disruption will be out in time, but how do you get out of this? CQ tries to leap, but won't quite make it, and now Y will also get punished for trying to help. They'll have to trade 3 lives away for the sake of that Aegis on the Ursa.
Yeah, it's a nice punishment coming out from CDEC. Of course, a great blink reveal on SRF. That does give some room towards EHome. I mean, they've got the Roche, so there's an Aegis on Siler, and Fate Beyond does have the Orchid, so they've got a way of controlling the AM to initiate onto Ame before that Mantis up, and, well, Ame's just finished up the Yasha. So, they don't quite have the Mantis style up and running yet. If Ame just focuses on farming, though, it's not going to be too long with Battle Fury up. So, starting to reach the point where the AM is going to overtake.
It's going to be there onto XM. They do silence him up, but the Sun Ray is going to heal him. Still, the arrow did land from Sin Q. They are going to get XM on that mid Void Spirit once again. It's not quite the target they would love to get, but they will accept the position 2 kill. They still do control the momentum of this game.
Yeah, it's that working Fabian, just giving that additional control to hold these heroes down, and it's such a pivotal pickup for EHome. They can't afford to really give breathing room here towards CDEC, so they're going to continue to apply that pressure. CDEC is playing smart though. Like Ame is just playing a lot more safe in this game, and as long as SRF's ult is down, they know they can't fight into anything. They just wait down, they accept that they're going to bleed a couple of kills, but once you do have that primal split, you can actually counter-fight on CDEC's side.
They might just go after James. Faith Beyond will show himself underneath the T1. In fact, it was a sentry that scouted them out, and now the Mirana getting caught out. CQ will go down. They did commit the egg just in case they were thinking about trying to turn that team fight EHome. They never did. In fact, I don't believe they would have had a chance anyway, as they are still just too far away to join the team fight. I mean, nothing to say. At the very least, does not have the MKB up. But again, I just don't really know if EHome care about these losses. So, the snipers are getting bigger and bigger. Now, mind you, they do have the gap closed to be able to get onto the sniper, as we saw earlier on. But now, XM gonna get disrupted up. Arrow gonna fly up. I believe it's off timing. In fact, the Phoenix will take the stun. Orchid gonna be on now onto XM. He's taking a lot of damage from nothing to say, but SRF will control the sniper up. Cannot take him out. He's standing there, man fight back, getting rid of all those little Brulins. Only the wind around the storm spirit will survive. They did manage to kill off the Phoenix in the end, and EHome, they just back to it. I mean, you saw nothing to say. He didn't even move. Really just sat there auto attacking.
Oh yeah, and it worked then. You do see nothing to say. He's got a couple of issues if CDEC do focus down on the sniper. He's going to need that BKB up fast, but he is given a lot of space here as they continue that pressure in these towers.
Yeah, they got a stun off on the Ogre. They easily get the kill on Victoria. Now the hook shot going to be there on to the Phoenix James. In big trouble, and is probably just going to die. On the back of the Orchid again from Faith Beyond, just really locking everyone down here. And with that, an easy tier 2 mid tower to be taken. CDEC don't really have hope of stopping this yet. They are just not in position.
No, and you do have at least the answer in eye, so he's got the man style up. The Orchid's not going to be enough to lock the AM in, but they are losing map control here on CDEC's side. So mid tier 2 goes down. That's going to open out the outpost as well, as that's the first tier 2. And oh,
it landed shot again onto XM with the Orchid, so XM has no way out of there. And now Sylar, he wants to land the tier 3 tower. Victoria goes down. And EHome just back out onto Armor, down to that bot lane. Disruption is going to land from Y. Arrow is flying in. It was just a bit too late, but they can keep trying to scout out Arme. They will not get a glimpse. The AM is going to be fine. But EHome, they are feeling it right now. And, well, things are only set to get worse for CDEC as, I mean, you pointed out the Manta on the AM, but the Abyssal Blade will be coming up on Sylar relatively soon. And he doesn't really care for the Mantras. Man finds Arme!
oh, Ame.
Yeah, you can't... It's the thing though, Mask of Matt and KB on the sniper, he can just literally sit there and attack you. You can't really take him out that easily.
Yeah, it's curious. He had the ward. He knew the sniper was there, and it's these small plays from CDEC that just cost them. So, you know, they've got the pre-K lead back. They know they're ahead. They don't have the Aegis anymore, but they've got the BKB and Sylar. So it's an opening that they can really use here.
Gonna try. They're gonna run straight into some SRF. Gets the split off. After Faith Beyond, no, he will actually tornado up that Ursa, and they do burst down the clockwork. Now that Ursa, Sylar just gonna turn around with the BKB onto the egg and be able to get it going down. Sylar, he's gonna TP up. A 1-for-1 trade in the end. You'd still be okay with that if you CDEC. It's just getting harder and harder. Like, perhaps the Basher is up on armor and he can actually afford to jump in for Sniper as he did that last engagement. He's going to find why now. Why won't actually be able to survive as his mana does get drained up.
You can't beat me. You can't run.
Again, I just keep looking at Sylar, who's just getting closer and closer to that Abyssal Blade. It's just how do you survive it if the Earth does make the jump?
You don't, and there's already all of that control coming out from EHome. All of the damage is swallowed.
Oh, hook shot, fade beyond, just on the edge of rocket flare to give vision. They got the Orchid into the arrow set up from Sync-Q, and of course you've got this machine gunner sniper.
刷钱机器。
Speaking of that sniper, John, he's going for an Eye of Scardian.
Oh boy, yeah, this is everything nothing say needed. He's got this BKB, he's pretty much safe. He can just man fight as much as he wants. And the progression from EHome's a bit too much. I mean, CDEC still has a lot of room on Ame. He's still farming nicely despite these circumstances. It's just that you're not seeing anyone else farm well. XM's staggered behind after the Ags pick up, and even after the Ags and avoid threat. His presence in fights, it's been mixed. You know, it's not been amazing. It's really been more about SRF getting a proper jump in, but then you're constrained to prime split, which is such a long cooldown. And EHome doesn't care for cooldowns. They don't have anything to wait for. They just keep pushing, keep forcing fights. They take it tier 2. They're starting to apply pressure down mid. On top of that, they've got 2 lanes under their control. And CDEC, I mean, they're trying to split push top, but a Brewmaster just does not melt objectives fast enough.
I mean, I believe it's the job of the AM to do that, but they may not feel safe just with APR missing off the map. And I hear a hook shot. Where is it? It's going to be up that top banner in spot. The Phoenix is going to get put out. Faith setting up another kill, this time onto James. And I believe that's what Arme's afraid of. Like, he doesn't split push the lanes as the AM, because you just never know when Faith's going to be there with Sync-Q to back him up. And now they're going to Moonlight Shadow. They run straight through Sentry Wards in the mid lane. So this is all being revealed, but bot lane, maybe did not get the memo. Blink away. Shrapnel is going to give some vision, but they are not going to be able to break the gap in time. Be fine to get out, but now near the mid lane. Why? Survive just barely thanks to that disruption. XM should be able to get the kill and does. Now Faith's going to hook shot out of there as the clock. They are unwilling to fight any further. They are missing their Ursa at the moment. Speaking of that Ursa, he does now have the Abyssal.
Yeah, and that's when it gets really scary to deal with. These cores in EHome, just the Abyssal BKB on Fowler means he has control here. Oh no.
Hey, jumps on Arme. He won't have to back up this time around.
Is under attack.
Quite enough damage yet to be able to do it by himself. But imagine that with the sniper to back you up, is what I'm saying, right? Look, you can take care of half his HP and then you've got nothing to say who could just kill him instantly, basically, with his own damage.
It's not something Ame just can sustain. He just doesn't have the stats, and even they know they've got a massive opening. They're going to try hunting it.
Rocket flare, the hook shot is going to land with the Orchid. He does enter it off and blink away.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Sylar, he wants to range for that Abyssal, but he'll go for the Phoenix instead, and now they get the Yules off on that AM with the arrow. It could be enough they get flash, but they don't. Rocket flare will give vision. But they're going to give up on that AM.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Just going to leave Arme to blink his way out and TP back to the fountain.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Get it to one top tower.
He found his courier as well. That had his basher playing out for the AM. So he's not even going to have that for any sort of fights coming out for the next 3 minutes. And while the Roche is up, EHome just goes straight into it. CDEC, they don't really have a window here to go in. They just can't contest. And second Roche of the game going straight to EHome, ages and cheese. So you've got multiple lives here in these 2 big cores that you have to eat through. You don't have enough to really both of them twice over.
Oh, matters just got worse for CDEC. Like, spider legs have been found out for EHome side, so Sylar should be taking those for himself. And these kiting, rather this gap closing issue that Sila's been having shouldn't be as big of a problem with the spider legs that are coming out for himself. And
Dire's bottom
now
tower is under attack.
they're going to try and take that tier 2 top. SRF going to go in, but there's going to be a hook shot onto that Phoenix, just keeping it back. Now Silo just going after SRF with an arrow set up from Sin Q.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
XM does eventually end up killing off Faith Beyond, but I do love that hook shot.
Dire's structures
It's
are
not only
falling.
getting himself out, but not allowing the Phoenix to Icarus up in with the egg.
Radiant's top tower has
And
fallen.
they do get the tier 2 tower. They feel like they can go high ground.
Radiant's top
Yeah,
tower
I mean,
is under
they've got that Scotty up, and nothing to say. They've still got the Aegis, they've still got the cheese, they've got the level 20 talent, and nothing to say. So even if they do jump in, he's got that knockback and headshot, and it just makes it so much more obnoxious to deal with a sniper.
How do you deal with it right now? He's just hitting your tier 3 tower out of range. There's nothing you can do about it. Now the creeps are coming in. He'll just jump in with the Aegis. And try and slow this down the best they can. He'll just push out the bot lane while this is happening and try to get T2 down team. SRF is going to be back up, and you do have that primal split. Oh, that is a lot of damage flying out. And now the Abyssal, he will go back to the graveyard. Sylar still surviving his XM. He's trying to go after Sin Q. He couldn't quite get the kill on the Mirana. And the Arme, he's TP back. Nothing to say. He eats the cheese, surviving through the damage of Arme, and he just needs to blink out of there. That'll be the first racks of the game going down here. EHome able to secure that top racks. Really no choice.
No. I mean, they use up the cheese, but it's really not the biggest deal here. And you look at nothing to say. Great for more damage, going for the deal. So he is just going to melt people. And he's been given the space to do so. CDEC, we talked about him having this gap closing for the sniper. It's never been in play. Ame just cannot focus on nothing to say. He just needs to keep farming up. He is making good progress towards his own Abyssal. But you're at the point in the game where this is not fast enough. He's lagged so far behind that sniper. This is really not typical of a good AM game, and certainly isn't up to par for the timings you want in this hero.
Light Shadow, you know exactly where CDEC appear to be. They are smoked up. They're going to run straight to XM, who does dive in, but disruption going to be there. Now Sylar will go into Victoria, but the Ghost Book will say he can still back to XM. They will get the Void Spirit. Now SRF trying to get something going for himself. He will eventually primal split. Nothing to say, he's easily going to take those Brulings out of here. The egg will zone out a bit, but now Victoria going back in. Just ended up killing himself here as he does. Nothing to say, just getting the kill, but now Arme as the AM onto that sniper. He'll try to fight back. The knockback is making it so difficult that they finally kill him off, and now Faith also goes down. Sylar, he left to fight by himself with Sin Q. It's out of mana. He does have some stick shots. Pops the enrage. He's just going to try and get himself out of this. Gonna latch on. Arme does get back in there with Mana Void killing him off. It actually hookshot neutral camps. He could not hookshot into the AM. That was a pretty good team fight for CDEC, John. They did get quite a few big kills there on the side of CDEC, and it was worth about 3k worth of gold.
Yeah, it's a nice big swing going the way of CDEC. That's really off the back of Ame finally having that Abyssal. So he can get close, he can control the sniper, and without any sort of repositioning tool on, nothing to say. Very vulnerable once that AM comes in. It was still a bit of a struggle. The knockback was great, but just not enough. And EHome, that was the cleanest fight from them. CDEC managed to find that punishment, hold on to the game, clear out a mid-objective, which was around for a bit too long. So they do just get a little bit more out of the map. There's still a long way to go here, but this is it's a bounce back for Ame, right? Like, he closes that gap, less than 400 gold between them now, which is a really decent spot now for the AM. Not quite where you want to be. You still want to be up top, but you have staved off that massive spike EHome's had, so got to play a bit more cautiously. Look at nothing to say. He does have the Shadow Blade. He has a way of bailing himself out at the least. gonna need to keep working on the additional farm on the sniper, perhaps even just getting that level 25 tab as well. Either the shrapnel or attack range, both of them are pretty darn good for the sniper and should allow them to have a bit more presence. They do want to go hunting with that moonlight though.
I mean, you're still ahead at EHome, so I don't see any real reason for them to slow down. Now I'm just going to place the wards down and wait it out. We are going to see a counter smoke coming out now from CDEC. Feeling confident. If they can win the next team fight, that net worth advantage is basically on for EHome. They aren't going to find anybody.
Radiant are
EHome
scanning.
playing rather cautiously in the jungle. Possibly run into Faith Beyond. You just got him out with that ward. Now should be able to close the gap. Faith does get a pursuit off. Disruption. Not going to be off clockwork, so he will survive. But the arrow off onto Arme still. XF chasing down the Shadow Demon. Why? Just pulling him back. Bouncing Cunity to get out of there. The egg is ticking down. He does late, but the sun does connect, and he should just be dead.
Has been
Be
killed.
two down. In fact, there might be more. Sylar going back in on Victoria. He's being controlled.
They will fall
Eventually
before
does manage to get the kill. SRF, that's good touch on the assassinate, but might be dead due to XN. Does jump in, takes down Y. Now the primal split, they'll keep going. Arme does get enough to set. Kills off the sniper, and now Sylar. There's a bit of a sitting duck here. He'll try to fight back up against Arme, but he'll blink away. And with that CDEC, we'll just burn the Ursa, and it'll be a 4-for-1 trade. A great team fight up to the Radiant side.
They turn it around. That advantage EHome has basically gone. It's just a 1k lead left. And EHome, their execution, they just aren't doing it clean enough. CDEC keeps finding these holes to abuse. They do manage to win out the fight. They're going to take this tier 2. They can siege in the high ground. There's no buyback in these big cores. They should at least get the tower. If they want to push their luck, they can take a lot more.
They're not going to be the easiest to go any further. You've still got 2 heroes up, and Faith Beyond is respawning soon. They're only going to go after the tier 3 as they had a repair kit anyway. Does just commit it straight away on the military barracks. So EHome now on the back foot, not going to be feeling too good about this. With this EHome draft, it kind of feels like they need to be the ones initiating on the side of CDEC rather than being the ones getting caught out. Like, you've got so many great ways of just pushing in and just walking someone down. If CDEC can move themselves to make the plays, it can be rather hard to test the team fight. They might find creepy as it's already. He's going to think in on one, but he's completely by himself. He'll help this big if he's trying to fight back. It is buying time for the rest of his team to make it toward their side. Let's see, get out of the army. Blinks in there, going straight up Y. It's the kill. Up the same, not really having enough jump to take him out, and they go on to SRF. Remarks will die, but now Faith Beyond being at the AM. He'll turn around onto Arme with the open, but it's not going to be quite enough. Now the Yule's down, there'll be no arrow follow. They'll jump back in to Faith Beyond, but he'll still walk out of there. Eventually, what a hook shot coming from all the way from Sunstone. Dissimulate will be there to protect, but it won't be enough. And Faith is still alive on this clockwork somehow. He still won't die. They get the use off on James, and well, suddenly it's a 3-for-1 trade for the side of EHome.
Yeah, this time it was CDEC a bit too keen in jumping in there. Ame just immediately bailing out, so their AM safe, but they needed him in these fights. Doesn't even find the tier 2 tower to split push, and unfortunately for them, that lined up quite nicely with Roche. They're going to be able to take this objective. There's no void for it to try to steal. I mean, it's down to Ame if he wants to risk it, but he really can't. He's saving up for Divine on the AM, so they know they just need all the damage on Ame. That is the turret Roche AM, and there is a refresh, though. Can make it tricky in this next fight.
I wonder if they give it to... You could just have the double enrage, yeah. They'll give it to Sylar. Have that double enrage up. Very, very effective, and with an MKB now up on that Ursa, he'll be hitting substantially harder. They're going to try and see if they can get a high ground push point while XM's down on the Void Spirit with no buyback. Bloodlust is going to be nice in terms of defending that tier 3, but not to say can attack from out of range and Stark can just tank all the tower damage.
Radiant's middle tower
Do get the
has
tier
fallen.
3 tower.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
SRF going to jump in. He's been silenced up. He gets the BKB, but Sylar
Dire's
has the
bottom
Abyssal.
tower has fallen.
That'll be SRF head from 80 to that buyback. That might be a third lane Brax now for EHome. I don't see how they're going to fight this out without SRF and XM.
No, they can't. At least with the Void Spirit up, they're gonna have another route to gap close, but without that room pass.
Lord Mage, but the arrow does not land. He will make the jump on the secure that Marana. Still, he survives. I'm not to say he does kill off James on the Phoenix. He'll buy back immediately.
Dire's bottom
Bot
tower
lane of Rax is exposed and go for it, but they're just being very cautious about the position of CDEC as they do jump next step. Going straight on that sniper, they do eventually kill him off, and it's just one death. That is the Aegis. Now coming back on to Arme. He does go down.
Dire's bottom tower.
Back after that final lane of Rax. Just one more, but Arme go blink in straight on the sniper. Should be able to take him out, but here comes Sylar going after that AM with the arrow. Not gonna land. And EHome, they may have just kind of blundered their opportunity for Megas. They are going to catch up Sylar. He should have no way out of this. They're trying to find a way to turn this around, but they lose Sylar, and now they'll lose Y. There's just one million Parax left. They are unable to obtain it.
Oh yeah, that's still a really good defense for CDEC coming out. Those were big buybacks flying out there, so this is gonna offset the stats of EHome. They know they have a bit of an edge here as they do still have their own buybacks. And they're gonna have to make the most from that win. CDEC needs to find objectives off the back of it. It's just they're gonna need to try to go for those racks down mid. There is a buyback on Sylar though, and that means the Ursa can just come back. The respawn on our sniper is not too far off, so just how much they can get for that win doesn't look like they're going to be able to secure too many objectives off the back of that one.
No, they're going to try for the mid racks. It's probably the best they can ask for is just try and steal one racks away, and maybe if you can get another pick off in the dire base, you can possibly go for a bit more.
Oh.
Nice little arrow on SRF. Arme just jumps in after Faith. Faith does have the aim disc now up, so it does protect himself. Arme with a DD rune is going to try for the boss here at the same time. It's going to be a little hard through the glyph.
Dire's bottom tower.
Got 10 seconds before nothing to say is back up and ready to go. Now Y going in for disruption, juking out SRF. Then you get the tier 3, Faith, hook shot in with the Orchid once again on that AM, but he will survive. Now just trying to back off, there's nothing to say. Is going to be back on the sniper. Everyone is just out of there. And they do successfully get one lane of racks and one tier 3 tower. So it wasn't too bad at all. That'll give them a slight way back in this game at least. One lane is going to be a little less stressful to control.
Yeah, it's a more breeding room. There's still 4K advantage in EHome. They still are down buybacks. They do have it back up in XM SRF though, so that's there, but they have to really be cautious with Ame. He just doesn't have it for 5.5 minutes. He's queuing up fine. He knows he needs the damage. But again, it's a temporary spot. He doesn't have buyback anyway. You still have to play pretty darn safe in the AM as EHome, they know they've got the options for buyback. They still need to farm a bit more and nothing to say. But they've got the racks advantage. There's only one melee racks left. They are just gonna try and go for that objective soon.
I thought they were going to go for a bit of smoke play, but they might just wait out the Moonlight Shadow. CDEC have smoked up. They're going to try and go for this one big team fight. This team fight could end everything for either side, depending on who wins out and who loses. Sylar is going to be close by. They do scout out Faith beyond. Rocket Flare will give he hook shots in. He is surrounded right now on that clockwork. Aeon is Big Rock, allowing him to walk away. Now Sylar going to blink in as the Ursa. He does kill off the Xen, but he'll buy back. Now onto the Phoenix. James will stun. With no buyback on the Phoenix, and SRF has been caught by the Yules and the arrow of Sin-Q. And Sylar can just clean him up. A triple kill now for the Ursa. So you do force out 2 buybacks. They want to keep going. They know they've got the advantage. They just need to hit that lane of barracks.
Ooh.
Arme does have the divine up.
Ooh,
See if they can contest this.
Radiant's bottom barracks are
Not
under
going to be easy. They can jump on the sniper, and they will straight away, but it's going to be enough. He's just trying to run out of there. Arrow will land on Arme. Now the Orchid will silence up the AM. Still just kiting in and out. SRF still chasing, trying to find a target, but Sylar will jump in onto Victoria. Unable to kill him off. Nothing to say, still running away. XM jumping in now. There goes Victoria. Arme, he's falling even lower on the AM. They do end up killing off SRF. This game could be over. SRF and James down with no buybacks. That divine.
Radiant's bottom
Just
barracks
mirrors. They're
are
not really
under
doing much
attack.
damage, John.
The issue was nothing to say. Up to Shadowblade, he had no detection. He just couldn't find the sniper under that Shadowblade, and he got surrounded.
Back in, X with the double silence. Now Arme back onto the sniper. They do get enough to save, but he'll buy back. Cheese is going to be eaten by and taken beyond. We'll try to control them up as Sylar does go for the Rashford. He'll turn around onto that AM Arme, getting very low. He's out of mana. They can just go back for that Rax. That is what they'll do. So Megas are now up for EHome. Silence going to be there on the Overfate. Has hook in one, won't need it. Sylar able to go in, and now the hook shot. Who's caught? It's XM. Dissimulate going to be there with the Astral Step, and it will be enough. No, the Rocket Flare from Faith does catch him out. And now James trying to walk away. Arme's in control. He's been stunned up, and he's dead. This game is over.
Oh, man.
Divine just left behind a tree and seen it. They get 2-0'd by the side of EHome. The A just does not work out 2 games in a row.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame for CDEC. A really rough series. They really wanted to make that game work. Fortunately, EHome had the answers both times. They had to work for it in game number 2, but EHome